Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. We have a very interesting video today. I guess I'll just start off by addressing the elephant in the room. There's an orange machine behind me. That is correct. This is not a joke. This is not a drill. We really are going KTM, baby. Let's go. Now I imagine you guys are pretty split right now. Some of you love the Austrian bikes. Some of you hate them. I gathered that information last year when I switched over to Husky for a brief moment. And bringing that up, I'm sure some of you are thinking to yourselves right now, Jaywalk, you tried this already, dude. What the heck? What are you doing? And I guess in order to explain that, we're gonna have a little bit of story time right here, and I'll tell you guys exactly why I'm making the switch from Honda over to KTM for the 2020 outdoor season. We gotta throw things way back to over a year ago. The channel OGs will remember that I was having a ton of issues with my 2019 Honda Works Edition 450. It's a bunch of reliability issues, clutch issues, cooling issues. That was the time before I was hooked up with the Race Tech, so I was really battling getting a good suspension setting for it as well. And I was just really frustrated with it, and I was ready to make a change. And that's right about the time when I started that series of Honda versus blank series of YouTube videos that I started doing. I convinced my friends to let me test out some of their bikes. I think I did a Kawasaki, a Yamaha, and a Husky. And I made a couple of videos on that maybe you guys saw, maybe you didn't. But that was the initiation of me testing out some other brands because I knew I wanted to make a change. None of them were quite gelling for me until about a year ago. I got home from Florida and I went out to a practice track up here in Michigan. Conditions were kind of muddy, a little bit sloppy and gnarly, and I still had my Honda 450. I was really struggling on it that day. I was just not gelling with it. It was kind of pro national level. It was like pretty deep and gnarly. I was just really struggling on it. One of my friend's dad actually had a 2019 KTM 450, the standard edition, completely stock, and he offered to let me take it for a spin. Now, like I said, I had already tested out a Husky and I just didn't think that that was the bike for me. But my dad is a huge advocate of the Austrian brands. He used to race a Husky way back in the 70s, so he was all for me making the switch over. So he convinced me, just take it for a lap, just give it a go, all right? You can't be any less happy on it than you are on your current Honda. I didn't have my hopes very high. I think I mentioned this in the video. When I switched over to a Husky, I told this same exact story pretty much. I didn't even mess with the levers or anything or the bar position, which normally when I test someone else's bike, that's the first thing I do is set up the cockpit for me. Well, my expectations on the KTM were so low, I didn't even mess with that. Didn't touch any clickers. The suspension was completely stock. I was like, dude, I'm not gonna like this thing. So I just tossed my helmet on and took it for a quick lap. And the very first corner I hit, I knew that that was the best 450 on the market, or at least by far the best one that I had ever tried. It was just, the connection I had with that thing on the very first lap was just electric. I felt like I had been riding it my entire life. It just felt so light, so snappy, just so controllable, so smooth. I was like, wow, I need one of these right now. And I actually have some video from that day that I'll toss up on the screen. Me riding the Honda, you guys can tell I just look kind of wallowy and slow and unsure of myself. I just couldn't really flick it around or be really aggressive with it. And then here is me riding that KTM I was talking about. So you guys can see I'm just absolutely attacking the track, scrubbing this little tabletop, flicking the rear end around, getting on the gas really hard coming out of this corner. I was in love with the thing. I took it out for like a full 15-minute session. I did not want to get back on my Honda. Unfortunately, I had to because I had to finish out the rest of the day, and riding my Honda again just solidified that I needed an Austrian bike for sure. Now, as I said, that was about exactly a year ago, and we had like 2 weeks before Hangtown, so we didn't really have a whole lot of time. I immediately went out to Championship Power Sports, which is my local dealer around here I've been working with forever. They unfortunately didn't have any KTM 450s in stock, but they had the Husqvarna Rockstar Edition on the showroom floor looking super pretty. And in my mind, I was thinking, all right, KTM, the Husky, they're pretty much the exact same bike. Let's just get this thing, get used to it as much as I can over the next 2 weeks, come out swinging at Hangtown, and that's exactly what we did. And I loved that thing. That thing was awesome. I actually ended up qualifying for the Colorado Pro National on it, bone stock, the exact way that we rolled it out of the showroom floor, which is crazy. Stock suspension, stock pipe, stock everything. Now, admittedly, I never quite clicked on it as much as I did on that one KTM, and kind of my fault. I kind of just assumed that the Husky and the KTM were gonna be identical, but from my experience, every time I ride a Husky, it just feels a little bit softer, a little bit more mellow, just not as aggressive and snappy as the KTM was, which was what I really, really liked about the KTM. And kind of our faults, we didn't do any upgrades to the Husky the whole time that I had it. We just ran stock suspension, stock engine, stock everything besides bars and foot pegs. And I mean, I still really, really like the bike. I don't regret the Husky at all, but obviously running it completely stock just wasn't ideal. And then we fixed the Race 250, which was a Honda, which I finished out the rest of the season on. I didn't really get to race it a whole lot either, so there wasn't really any point in like dropping a couple grand on A-kit suspension and stuff for it. Now at the end of the season, I was all ready to sell the Honda 250, get another Husky 450 and practice on it all winter, which is when the FXR Chaparral Honda team approached me, told me, hey, we're doing this team, we're doing Supercross and outdoors, we're gonna be on Hondas, do you wanna do it? And of course, I said yes. And knowing that I was gonna be racing a Honda in 2020, it didn't make sense for me to practice on a Husky 450 all winter, so we sold that, ended up getting my Honda 450, which I'm still riding now, and I practiced on that all winter to get used to the Honda chassis so that when I made the switch over to the team bike, it wouldn't be such a shock to the system. However, as you guys know, the team thing didn't quite pan out for me, so I'm back doing things on my own, which gives me the freedom to pick any brand that I so wish, which is why I'm proud to say we have a 2020.5 KTM 450SXF factory edition in the race shop right now, and that's what I'm going to be racing for the rest of this season. Like I said, I know a lot of you are going to be split on this. When I switched over to the Husky, a lot of you were stoked, but a couple of you were not that stoked. Sorry if you're on the side of the fence that isn't quite as stoked to see me on orange, but I could not be happier with this decision. Every single time I ride a KTM 450, I just feel like that bike was made for me. I have a really aggressive style. I'm taller and stronger, so I like to manhandle the bike. So I really like how light it is. I'm very aggressive with the throttle. I don't necessarily have really fine tuning like Ken Roczen type throttle control. I like to toss it in deep and hold it wide open, and the smooth power band of the KTM really lends itself to that. Because of just how smooth and linear it is, I feel like I can be really, really aggressive on it. So the power band combined with the lightweight of it just really suits my style, and every single time I ride a KTM, I just feel right at home. Like I said, first corner, I just know that I'm gonna have a blast the whole rest of the ride, and I just feel like I'm able to go really, really fast on them, which obviously at the end of the day is the most important thing. I obviously still always have a soft spot in my heart for Hondas. I mean, I'm sure the Honda I have right now won't be my last one. The new generation Honda looks awesome. Maybe I'll go back and test that out next year or something, but as for right now, I'm very, very confident in saying the KTM is my favorite bike on the market. It's what suits me the most, and it's what I'm gonna be able to go the fastest on. And given the fact this is kind of one of my last years to really prove myself, really put in some really solid results and just show everyone that I belong out there, and I want to give myself the absolute best resources that I possibly can. And in this case, that means making a change over to orange, which I'm really happy about. I truly believe that that's just what is going to help me achieve what I want to achieve this year. So I know I don't owe this explanation to anybody, and what at the end of the day, what really matters is my opinion, but of course I want to keep you guys in the loop. You guys support me so much. I feel like you guys deserve to hear the reasoning behind it. Like I said, sorry if you guys aren't stoked on it, but at the end of the day, this is my decision, and I know it's what's best for me. So with that being said, we have some really exciting content coming up. Obviously, this was just the introduction to the bike. I'm not doing any riding today, but I have some spoilers for you guys. Obviously, last year I just stuck with the stock suspension on my Husky. This year I knew I wanted to get off the air fork. So we have a fresh set of brand new cone valves sitting in the garage right now that I can't wait to throw on this thing. We actually bought this bike about a week and a half ago, and we immediately sent the suspension out to Race Tech. They set up the cone valve and the stock rear shock for me, because apparently the A-kit shock isn't much better than the stock production shock on this thing. So massive thank you to Race Tech for getting that done so quick for us. They gave us a really good deal on a set of cone valves, so super stoked to test that out. This is gonna be my first time ever owning A-kit level suspension, so I'm really excited about that, and obviously stoked to have Race Tech set that stuff up. They've done an amazing job on all my bikes over the past year and a half, so I'm really excited to have them in my corner helping me get the KTM all dialed in and handling even better better. To be honest though, the KTM comes pretty dang set up for racing. I mean, that's their whole thing, race ready, and it's pretty true. You don't have to do a whole lot to these things to make them pro caliber race machines, so we're not really doing a whole lot to it. The biggest parts that I have on the way are just setting up the cockpit for me, so we're gonna be running pro taper handlebars, which is a little bit taller bend just because I'm a tall guy. Guts Racing is helping us out with a little bit taller seat foam and one of their winged seat covers, which has like a little bit of foam padding on the side to make the seat wider, which is something that a lot of the Husky and KTM taller guys use. I know Dino and a lot of the Rockstar Husky guys use it, as well as I'm pretty sure Jeffrey Hurling. So got one of those, really excited about that. And then we also have some foot pegs that lower and move the pegs backwards a little bit, which is what I ran on the Husky last year. So I'm really excited about that as well. We obviously have the Adept Creative Co kit already here, which I'm gonna put on here in just a minute, and I cannot wait to see how it looks when it's all said and done. And beyond that, there's not really a whole lot we gotta do to this thing. I'm still waiting on some of those parts to show up, so in the next video I'm gonna be riding it pretty much in stock form, just with the suspension on it. So you guys can look forward to that. I'm actually gonna take this thing out for its first rip tomorrow. I obviously still have the Honda and I'm gonna hang on to it for a little while longer here, so you guys can expect me to do some lap time comparisons between the Honda 450 and the KTM 450. And I know you guys are wondering where the CR250 is. Well, we actually discovered that the servo motor in the RC valve was completely seized up, which was causing it to run a little bit funky up top. It's nobody's fault. It's actually my fault. I didn't check that. As soon as I got the bike, I didn't even check to see if it ran right. From how the previous owner had it, I just immediately tore it apart and sent it out. So no one's fault on that. It's just something that goes bad in those bikes, and we're just waiting for a new one to come in. Obviously with COVID, shipping is really slow and stuff. So as soon as that servo motor shows up, we'll replace that and we'll get ripping that thing. We'll do some KTM versus CR250 content. There's just a lot of awesome stuff to film on this thing. I hope you guys are really excited for it. I cannot wait to ride this thing because, like I said, every time I've ridden one in the past, it's just been awesome, and this one's gonna be completely dialed in, set up for me. It's gonna be amazing. I cannot wait. So that's gonna do it for my explanation. Hopefully you guys can tell how excited I am about this, and even if you're not the biggest fan of KTM, hopefully you're still gonna support me, and once you see me riding this thing, hopefully you'll be like, oh yeah, he made the right choice. But yeah, that's gonna do it for the storytelling. How about we turn around and show off this bike a little bit and then take it out for its first rip and get some gnarly content for you guys. So let's take a look at the bike. Well, as I said, it's a 2020.5 KTM 450SXF factory edition. So it's got the special Red Bull graphics on there, which we're gonna take off and replace with an Adept Creative Co. I always take the stock plastic off, especially on the factory editions like this, because when we go to turn around and sell it, buyers really love when it comes with the graphics that it's supposed to. So we're gonna take all that stuff off immediately, put the Adept Creative Co. kit on it, which is gonna look really sick, and I can't wait to show you guys that in the next video. It's got the orange frame and orange frame guards, which is really cool, along with the Hinson clutch cover. I really like Hinson, so I'm really stoked that it comes with that. It's really refreshing having a stock clutch that actually works really well, because on the Honda, that was one of the biggest things that I struggled with, was the clutch. So awesome that the KTM clutch is so strong right from the factory, and I don't have to worry about putting a $1,000 system in it. It just comes already set up and ready to rip. Factory edition also comes with a really nice set of wheels. Got the DID Dirt Star rims, the orange nipples, black spokes, and orange hubs. I'm a huge fan of the black spokes. Shiny chrome pieces look awesome for the first like 2 hours that you own the bike, and then after a couple washes, they just get tarnished and look really crappy. So I really love the black spokes on this thing. I had them on my Husky and they looked great for the entire time that I had the bike. So maybe they don't look quite as cool right off the bat, but they stay looking good forever, which is sick. I love it. Factory edition also comes with some factory KTM triple clamps, which, as I said, I'm gonna be swapping out because they do not have the forward mounting option for the handlebar mounts. As you can see, they only have the standard mount back there, which, being that I'm a taller guy, I really like to run the handlebar mounts in that forward mounting hole. I've ran it on my Honda like that, and I see a lot of taller guys like Hurlings run theirs in the front too. So really excited to have some X-Trig clamps on the way so that I have the ability to run my bars a little further forward. Comes with the cool seat cover that matches the graphics, but as I said, we've got a Guts one with the wings. You guys might be able to see here that like the plastic sticks out an extra like centimeter from the seat cover. The Guts Racing cover just kind of helps bridge that gap to give you a little bit more room to squeeze the bike with. So I'm excited to show that off in the next video as well. Obviously comes with the Akrapovic. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. I've heard a couple people pronounce it that way. Might be Akrapovic, but whatever. Comes with that slip-on. I'm not sure if we're gonna be keeping that yet or swapping over to like a Yoshi, but pretty cool nonetheless that it comes with that. We already got the Race Tech shock on there, and the cone valves are sitting over in that box, just ready to put on this thing. Also comes with a skid plate, which is awesome. Love to have that extra protection. And that's pretty much it. Comes with some really solid upgrades that make this totally worth it. And this thing is pretty much race ready. Like I said, just upgraded the forks and upgraded the cockpit a little bit to fit my larger frame. So that's it, guys. I'm stoked. I'm so happy that I finally own a KTM 450. Like I said, ever since I rode that one last year, I knew that I had to have one, and things just hadn't worked out until now. And now that I'm doing my own program, I know that I need to give myself the best situation, the best equipment to perform as well as I can, and this is for sure gonna do that for me. So I'm really excited, and I can't wait to ride this thing tomorrow. You guys know I'm gonna get some content for you and drop it as soon as I can, so I hope you're excited to see me ride it. Lots of awesome content to come. Can't wait. This is gonna be one heck of a summer. So anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching. Hope you like the new bike. Stay tuned for more content. Peace out. We'll catch you in the next one.
Sometimes I'm at the peak and other times I'm about to fall. Sometimes I gotta wonder what I'm doing here at all. Sometimes in my mind I just sit here and I'm guessing. How can I find the answers? I don't even got the questions. Sometimes I'm at the peak and other times I'm about to fall. Sometimes I gotta wonder what I'm doing here at all. Sometimes in my mind I just sit here and I'm guessing. How can I find the